This is the file you will be starting with. What we have is a frequently asked questions scenario. And in the event that the user has disabled JavaScript, they would actually see everything. Now, if they have the JavaScript, this is what they'll see. They will see the questions are essentially just there. There is no definition or there's no information underneath. And notice when the hand goes over, these are H2 tags and these are divs. Notice it looks like the active hand. That's the style sheet that I've set for it. It's the cursor property set to a pointer. All right, so what we want to do is we want to be able to click these H2 headings and have the div underneath them collapse and expand. We're doing that by setting the CSS display property. So when the page loads, we're going to set the CSS display property to none. So if you're not familiar with the display property, none is one value and block is the other value. But we're not using block. We're going to use the toggle class method to toggle this class on and off. So we're going to give the div a class of a class, and the class is going to associate a CSS property and value. It's going to be the CSS display property set to hide. All right, so right now it's hiding. When I click, it shows. When I click off, it hides. All right, so we're toggling the class. Now, if I take a look at Firebug, all right, and this is really important to learn how to use Firebug for this. Here's my, now notice there's, well, that's the wrong one. There we go. What is jQuery? Okay, here we go. Class equals nothing. All right, there is no class right there. All right, because I toggled it. Now, if I look at my next, here we are, class equals hide. And you can't even see the code. It's kind of grayed out because we have class equals hide here. And I'm toggling it, so I'm essentially taking that class off. So when the page loads, we're setting the class for these 4 divs so that the content is not being visible. So when we click, we're going to toggle that class. All right, now this information is going to be dynamically generated. If you look at the beginning, that information was not there. So what we're going to do, we have some links in our content. We have a link here, we have a link here. And what we're actually going to do, we're going to dynamically copy these links using the clone method, and we're going to be inserting them down here. But we're also going to be putting a couple headings. We're going to be generating some content with jQuery. Now, we're not going to be putting placeholders here. All right, this is all going to be generated. That way, if the user, for whatever reason, the JavaScript fails, it's not going to show anything. But if it failed and then we had some headings there, it would look stupid. All right, so what we're doing, we are generating a heading, okay, using jQuery, and we're going to use one of our CSS methods to actually place this after this content here. All right, now we're going to also generate another container element, which will also be placed after this element. And inside the container element, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be using the each method to loop through all of the A elements, and we're going to clone them, and then we're actually going to append them to this element. Now remember, this is a container element, and so we can append content to it, but we're also going to need to be concatenating with a break here so that they're on one line. So this is all dynamically generated, and you're going to be learning how to toggle a class. Now, there are other ways of doing this collapsing and expanding, and we'll look at some of those other ways in the future. when we start learning about different events that we can use. So for now, the objects are using, oh, and by the way, notice when I click on a specific H2, it toggles for that div underneath it. So we're going to actually be using the this keyword and the next method also. So we're using some of the concepts that we're learning. We're looking at this, we're looking at next, we're looking at each, and then we're going to be using some of the insert after, append to that we have learned in the last class. I have some samples in the sample code to illustrate some of the components that will be involved in this exercise.